and girls and ghouls and fiends, how are you? That's what I needed, because after all, it is Chucky, right? Yeah. All right, so without further ado, I should say, my name is Ivana Cadaver, and I host the television series Macabre Theater with Butch Patrick, aka Eddie Munster. I'll be hosting all weekend, but the reason we are here right now is for Chucky. So join Chucky. Yeah, that's right. Let's do it one more time. All right. Join Chucky creator, writer, and director Don Mancini and cast members Alex Vincent, Andy, Christine Elise, Kyle, and special effects artist Tony Gardner as they discuss Chucky Season 2, which is already airing on Sci-Fi and USA Network. And you guys know that because you're watching, right? Yeah! All right. So without further ado, we have Tony Timpone, who's going to be moderating in this. Let me introduce him to you. Give him a warm welcome.
Hey folks, did I hear there were some Chucky fans in the audience? Well, we got a killer panel for you today with stars of both the original series and of course the movie series and the TV series. And we're going to start it off with, you know her as Kyle from Child's Play 2 and also Season 1 of Chucky. Hopefully she'll be back in Season 2. Let's give it up for Christine Elise. Next up is Andy Barkley, you know from the first film, and of course he's been in so many of the sequels, Cult of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Season 1 and Season 2 of Chucky. Let's give it up for Alex Vincent! Next up is the very talented effects creator. You've seen his work in movies like The Blob, Addams Family, Army of Darkness. He's been creating Chucky for the movies and now the TV shows. He brings Chucky to life. Let's give it up for Tony Gardner. And finally, last but not least, the man who started it all, from Child's Play right up to Season 2 of Chucky. Let's give it up for Don Mancini! How many folks have seen episode 1 and episode 2? Because we might have a few spoilers here. Namely, right there in the first episode of the new season titled Halloween 2, Don, you killed the kid. They found the cutest child actor in the world, and he blows them up at the end of the episode. He killed Gary. How could you do that, Don?
Horror genre. Bad things happen to good people.
I mean, if that's not proof that all bets are off for Season 2, I don't know what is.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Yes, all bets are off. I mean, that kid was great, but he did have that annoying trait about talking like Batman all the time.
I mean, did you get any kind of pushback from Sci-Fi or USA, like, you can't kill a kid?
Yeah, a bit. The trick was casting a kid who looked younger than he was.
Okay.
Yeah, but as you know, if you watch Season 1 of the show, Chucky has, rules about age limit. You don't kill babies, although that may be tested.
So what other taboos are you looking forward to breaking this season?
Oh, you have to keep watching to see that, but there are many. there are many we break.
He does not fail to disappoint.
I'm glad to see Alex back this season.
Me too.
Yeah. And please tell us that Kyle is going to be back, Christine.
Yes.
Please tell us.
Christine will be back.
Well, you never know because, you know, we do bring actors back in different roles. Oh, he's crying for joy.
Is that the baby you're going to blow up at the end?
That's his audition.
Yeah, it's a very convincing scream.
So your hands kind of tied on what you could talk about for season 2, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's probably not a secret or surprising to people that Alex and Christine, you may not have seen the last of them, but we're not saying in what capacity, how does that work, is it flashbacks, are they ghosts, or did they survive? That we want you to experience the story as we constructed it.
I love the little homages that you've been doing throughout the show. Last week there was a killer Godfather reference with Tiffany's head in the bed. I love the burnt offerings tribute in season 1 with Junior and his mother falling out the window. That was one of the best death scenes ever. And you even do a great thing with Kyle and Andy doing a Pulp Fiction thing in season 1. Well, could you at least give us some hints on some of the homages you're going to do in season 2?
It's like it's endless. There are so many. I mean, even like, did people spot, like, just in the first 2 episodes, we have Basic Instinct, What Lies Beneath, The Exorcist. I mean, so many. I mean, when people ask me this question, I weirdly go blank, partly just because I'm so tired. Because all we do is work on the show constantly. And I'm not complaining, it's great to have a job. But yeah, there's like lots of homages to movies. Does anyone remember a specific one? I mean,
There's a lot of good ones coming up. I think keep your eyes open and you'll be surprised at how many films get referenced, which just goes to show how many films are in Don Mancini's head rolling around.
Well, I think we're all like that. I mean, it's the thing we all have in common is the encyclopedic knowledge of this stuff. But you know, it's great to be able to put it to actual use. I mean, I don't have a store of memory for anything useful, other than like I can tell you like often like sometimes to the day, but certainly often the week, year that a movie opened and who I was with when I saw it, things like that. But I can't tell you what I had for breakfast this morning.
Well, for all of you, Chucky is the gift that just keeps on giving. Could each of you explain how much this character and these movies and TV shows have meant to you for your careers? So, Christine.
It's a really, I don't know how many actors in history have gotten to play a character at 17 and then play her at 50 and have her be a badass the whole way through. For me, as a 57-year-old broad, I don't get a lot of opportunities, and and women my age don't get opportunities to play badasses very often. So I'm just super grateful for the female characters that Dawn writes. They're all smart. And there's not enough smart, funny stuff written for old ladies.
You're not old.
No.
I am.
You're not, because I'm older than you. I can't face it yet.
Yeah, I mean, my answer is similar. This is season 2 is the 6th time that I played a character that I started when I was 6. So, I mean, I could do what I always do, which is give Don the credit for being so loyal and give you guys the credit for being so faithful as fans to the stuff that we do for this story.
We love you!
I mean, that's really the reason why all of us are sitting here still, so, I mean, that means everything.
We are so grateful to you guys
Yeah.
that we get to keep doing this.
Yeah.
We appreciate everything you all do.
I mean, what's it like for you, Dom, when you walk through a con like this and you see Chucky so heavily represented? I mean, really conspicuously more than the other modern killers, you know? Is it surreal for you to see it?
Absolutely, it's wonderful. It will never ever get old. So please keep dressing as Chucky. and Tiffany and Glenn and Glenda and maybe some more characters to come.
Don, what legacy characters?
Wait, he has.
Oh,
Tony
goes,
hasn't
yeah.
answered the question.
Okay, so for me, I came into the game later than you guys. I definitely wasn't 6.
12.
I started on C. Yeah, I was 12. Thank you. And I had to jump right in, and I felt right away that it was a group of people with Don Mancini and David Kirshner and everybody that just welcomed us into this group and made us feel a part of a family right away. And we all just dove in and accomplished something as a collective. But that's what I really liked, was it was a collective and it was collaborative. And art is a collaborative thing, so to be able to do that with people that you like and you love and you enjoy being stuck with for 18 hours or 20 hours a day, and somebody's going to pay you to do that, I mean, it's all beautiful all the way across the board. And then to have that product or art piece so well received and beloved by people like you, that's kind of magical to me. I mean, the whole experience has been fantastic, so thanks for allowing me to be a part of it along with these people as well.
You know, standards and practices seem to have been thrown out the window for Chucky and a lot of basic cable shows. This season, it's like every other word is an F-bomb. It used to be just Chucky. Now that, you know, the kids are all dropping the F-bomb, everybody's cursing up a storm.
Except me. I don't get to swear nearly fucking enough.
We have officially 10 F-bombs per episode.
That's all you're
And they
allowed?
have to be dole. You know, Chucky is going to want to take the lion's share of those. So there's only so many we can dole out, but
There's only so many
it's
bucks
just
to
our
give.
way. What'd you say?
There's only so many bucks to give.
Exactly.
So, what kind of legacy characters will be coming back for season 2? Could you drop any hints there? I assume there's a big demand for Chris Sarandon, Catherine Hicks, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, any that you haven't heard of, I can't. I can't say. But you know, Glenn and Glenda are back in another And you saw episode 2 the other night. You got a glimpse of them. Lots more to come. Lachlan Watson is amazing in those roles. We had such a great time working with them, and I think people might be surprised to find how emotional those are. The way that we constructed the story and the path, the arc that those characters go through, is very emotional. I mean, one of the things when we were working on it in the writers' room, I think on the face of it, you might expect that a character whose provenance is so absurd on its face. I mean, this character began as a doll who was the progeny of killer dolls, breech-birthed in a cemetery before being commandeered by an evil ventriloquist and taken to England, is non-binary, and then ends up being born into twins via a voodoo pregnancy. Anyway, I could go on and on like this, but it's absurd. But
Turkey baster.
with the turkey baster. But the thing is, one of the challenges we always face, whether it's a movie or even more so on the TV show, one of the challenges we love is the tonal, sort of, what's the word, tightrope that we have to walk, because we veer wildly from, you know, the sort of sincerity and naturalism of the kids and those characters, and at the other end of the spectrum is the over-the-top camp absurdity of Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly, and Chucky himself. So it can be tricky, but I love doing that. Anyway, the thing is, anytime you have stuff, material with the character Tiffany, you have to use other characters to ground it in the real world. And one of the characters, or two of the characters we used to do that with was Glenn and Glenda. And we treat them very naturalistically in a certain way. And it was very important to all of us that we, in our, you know, weird horror genre metaphorical way, honor the trans experience.
What made you bring back Devin Sawa and he had a third role this season?
Well, it was
And he's
over
not a
Chucky's
triplet.
dead body, as you may know if you follow their social media feud. Well, Devin's great. You know, I didn't know Devin before season 1, but of course was a fan of his work. And his audition as twins, you know, Logan and Lucas from season 1, they were great auditions, and he had this whole explication of how different the characters were and why they were different, and I was just very impressed with his audition. And then when I met with him and like signed him up, let's get him. And you know, it was pretty early in the process. I mean, Devin's a wonderful guy, and we all just kind of like, I think he might be a keeper. So it was really just that. I mean, I've brought a number of actors back in different roles throughout the franchise. So it's kind of on brand for us already. So it was really nice to be able to do that with Devin.
I like the idle hands joke in reference to the last episode too. That was really fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad that landed. You never know. It's just like, is that too on the nose? Is it too, like? I mean, it would have been too like. If you could go, all right, the poor sister Elizabeth is dead. She has gone to her final destination. But we didn't do that.
I like to remind me of my dad.
They have announced some cool guest stars this season. Meg Tilly, of course, Jennifer's sister, Joe Pantoliano.
Joey
should know
Pants.
that.
Yeah, just call him Joey Pants.
Yeah. Tell us about the roles they're playing in the show, if you're allowed to.
Well, you know, it was just something I've been thinking of doing for a while. I had been acquainted with all of them through Jennifer, although Gina, I actually met Gina in the 90s before I ever met Jennifer, in fact, through my friend Mike Werb, who wrote Face Off. That's how I first met her. So I had been acquainted with her over the years and had talked to her. At one point she was going to be in Curse of Chucky, and then it didn't work out. Anyway, so I told Jennifer that I had this idea to reunite the cast of Bound, because like any card-carrying gay, I'm a huge fan of Bound. Who is So, you know, so Jennifer helped me put that together. I don't want to say too much more about it, but I just finished mixing that episode, the sound mix last night, like at 10 o'clock. That's like how down to the wire this is. It's like, and we're still not quite done. We'll be finished with that episode next week, and it goes to air the following week. But it was thrilling, and I got to direct all of them in one episode. And it was completely thrilling to be working with these amazing actors.
The show's been a ratings hit for Sci-Fi and USA. Have you been officially given the green light for a season 3?
Not officially.
Okay.
No. And we don't take anything for granted, so please keep watching it. It's really up to you guys. I mean, because in TV, there are just like so many different factors that impact whether you get a pickup. So
And response is a big one. So if you guys are loud and
yeah, exactly.
aggressive about how much you like it, it only helps a season 3 come to be.
Let's see how aggressive you guys can be. Hey, how about some questions from the audience? I mean, I could do this all day, but I think I want to give you guys a shot too. So let's bring up the house lights and see what you guys have for us. Just because I could see, we'll go with this guy here on the left. You, yep.
There you go.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh my God, it's
not lights on you.
So leave the lights up. Yeah.
All right. First, I want to say thank you guys. Thank you, John, for creating just amazing characters, powerful characters, queer characters. The relationship between Jake and Devin is something I wish I would have had when I was younger.
Me too. That's why we did it.
And
For you.
At the previous con, I ran into Jeremy Silvers, who played Tyler from Part 3, and I think he's possibly doing some type of campaign to ask maybe him and I guess Silva. And I know it may conflict with the ages with Andy because there's a different Andy. But is that something you look forward to?
I haven't talked to Jeremy in forever. I mean, for a while, probably 10 or 15 years ago on Facebook, but I don't know, I haven't talked to him, but Perry Reeves, stay tuned.
Okay, this guy here in the cap. You, yep.
Okay.
Stand up.
This is for Alex. How did, well, I guess all of you guys, how did being in Chucky as a kid affect you growing up?
Look at him.
Don't look too close. The biggest part of that question, I guess, is it being a horror film, and that I didn't really make a difference.
Did you experience things like nightmares like other kids?
No, I didn't. I got a different perspective. I got an inside look. I thought it was the coolest thing, how to make this doll look alive. So I didn't have any of that kind of trauma. But feeling a little too important than a 6-year-old should, maybe. But no, not the content itself.
Thank you.
Okay, right in the front here.
Hi, yeah. So have you, Alex and Christine and Don, have you guys kind of talked about your their characters' backgrounds, after the events of the first 3? Have you guys kind of, stuff that you haven't mentioned at all? Have you guys kind of thought about the background, I guess?
Did you hear the question in the back? Did I hear the question?
I hope that made
No.
sense.
Okay,
I don't
then
know.
we'll
I can restate. The question was if Christine and Alex and I have talked about the characters, Andy and Kyle's history following the events of Child's Play 2, in between that and where we are now.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yes, we have. Yeah, of course, you have to, and a lot of what I do, it's so great because we've all been working together on this franchise for decades. We talk about it a lot over the years, and some of the ideas that you see in the show come from them, in fact. Because I think, in a way, one of the things we all realize is just I felt like, okay, I officially created these characters, but then they bring them to life. Tony helped with Brad Dourif and his team brings Chucky to life, but ultimately now it sort of feels like the characters belong to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do talk about their history because you have to kind of, as actors, I think they need that, and as a writer, I know I need that. I need to understand, what is their romantic history? What has been going on in this facet? What are their politics? All stuff that doesn't necessarily come out explicitly in the show, we do talk about.
Okay, cool.
But then also we spend a lot of time talking about other things that are not Chucky. it's just we need to talk about other things.
Guy in the white
But wait,
jacket.
they might have interesting.
No, that's exactly it. It is, I think, a combination of our thoughts of where Andy and Kyle may have been in that gap between, but there are things that we've talked about where Don sees it and where we agree things may have gone, and I think we leave room to fill in the blanks when it seems
They both have very, very strong, specific opinions about their costumes, their hair, and stuff like that, which all of the actors do. And that stuff is important, you know. And it's like I feel like it's important for me to listen to the actors because in a way they know the characters in a way that I don't because they embody them, you know. So I feel like it's important for me to listen to them.
Thank you.
Guy in the white jacket.
Any word on getting Justin Whalen back as a cameo?
We could do like some kind of like Spidey universe thing, you know, candies from different dimensions. I haven't talked to Justin in a long, long time. I'm not even sure that he's acting anymore. I think he's like I see Kara Gardner saying no.
So hard that dude dropped off the face of the planet.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice guy, as I recall. I think the last time I saw him was about almost 20 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. He was married. But I haven't. I don't know if you have his number. Alex? Do you
I don't. I've never met him.
Alex is like, Justin who? I don't know what you're talking about.
Alex is the only Andy we need.
Thank you.
Okay, this person with the Chucky doll.
I'm just curious, like, how many Chucky dolls each of you have in your house?
How many Chucky dolls?
I would think Tony has the most.
Yeah, the Chucky dolls kind of go on tour when they're not here. A bunch of them are at Universal Halloween Horror Nights in a gift shop right now on display. But come Halloween, they usually all party at my house, and I'm trying to collect all the ones I can from everybody else.
I mean, for me, all the Chucky dolls that I have are the ones that Tony gives me very graciously. I have Chucky, Tiffany, and Glenn.
And a
Yeah,
Glenn,
the whole set.
yeah. I have one from Colt that I got from Tony that Kira hand delivered, as a matter of fact. But then I have a bunch that fans have made for me, and they make really good ones, as I'm sure you agree. You know, all different Chucky in different forms. I have his cult head that I smoke joints with on occasion.
Right what you know.
I'm still waiting for Tony to get drunk and send me a fucking doll.
Okay, pressure's on, and there are witnesses. So.
I have a Trick or Treat Studios doll. I did an unboxing of him on my YouTube channel. Videovegan.com. And I'm about to do a Glenn and Glenda unboxing, and perhaps a Tiffany too. But the Trick or Treat Studios dolls are the next best thing to a Tony Gardner doll.
Yeah, we actually helped Trick or Treat design and
Yeah.
we did all the prototyping and all the mold masters, so that it would be as close as possible to what you were seeing on screen. And then every once in a while, we try and lift some of that stuff and maybe have it show up on screen or maybe on the armrest of a chair. You never know where that stuff might pop
A
up.
throne.
Yeah, a throne chair that Don Mancini needs to own at some point. He should direct from it.
Okay, this guy right here. Yeah.
So I have a question about Chucky's hair. Chucky's hair is laid this season. What are you using product-wise? Lula is dressed for the gods.
So this is my product placement plug. It took me 18 years to find this product. It's called Aerogel. It's hairspray that comes in a can that's white with a pink lid on it. It's indestructible. It's almost plastic, and it works really great with acrylic hair. The problem is his hair isn't human hair, so it's like trying to make that work is really a struggle. So he either ends up like overdone, like season 1, or he ends up like right on the money, like season 2. And it's just a challenge to find that. But a lot of times too, we're performing him as a rod puppet with a rod at the top of his head. So we kind of got into this whole make a bit of a hair helmet so it was easier for VFX. But this aerogel stuff, I swear to God, you can mess hair up and spray it, It doesn't mess it up for VFX at all. You can go to town.
The only problem we occasionally have is what we, at this point, affectionately refer to as Angie Dickinson hair.
Yeah. That'd be season 1. That would be hair helmet.
It's like Angie Dickinson in the shower in the beginning of Dress to Kill, because you know she has that like kind of 80s that hairstyle that like middle-aged women had in the 80s, and like this. And it's almost like you can like move your head. And she's in the shower and it's not getting wet, and she's, you know, she's masturbating in the shower. Sorry, baby. And sometimes, like now, I could just like say, Tony, he's looking a little Angie Dickinson.
And I know exactly what he's talking about, and I go in and fix it.
Do you know that your explanation that you just gave was almost, it reminded me of the speech from Death Becomes Her. Do you guys know that movie? In that movie where this woman comes up to Bruce Willis's character and said, "Oh, you did such an amazing job on my Aunt Esther. What's your secret?" And he goes, "Spray paint." And he goes, "Has his own chemical adhesive, you know, because dead skin." He goes, and as he's going on, this woman's like appalled.
Okay, this guy over here with the phone.
Don, can you say anything about
Hi, Kevin.
Meg Tilly's role in season 2?
Meg Tilly is in season 2. She is in more than one episode. She's amazing. We all loved her. I think that's fair to say. We loved her. What else can we say? She's kind of like Jennifer on some kind of relaxing drug. You know, she's like just a little more relaxed than Jennifer. But with the same, you know, but it's like once you get to know her, she is very funny, like Jennifer. She's very funny as well. And the nicest person in the world. That's not a very good answer, probably.
You'll see. You'll see very soon.
How many episodes is she in? Does she have a big role?
You said more than one.
More than one, and yes, she has a big role. Yes.
Okay, this guy on the left. Yep.
Yeah, so this question is for Alex. What was it like working with Brad Ford on the first one, as well as reuniting with him?
Well, unfortunately, we did very, very little time with Brad in person. It's Brad's voice that I've been working with for all this time. The first film, he was there on set in the beginning, like a couple weeks, and did a little bit of rehearsing with him. But I never really I just get to work with his voice, which helps. I mean, I'll say that Tony's puppeteer team does a good job impersonating him in a pinch. But it's much better when Brad's voice is on playback, because you know, it doesn't get better than that. But in person, I haven't really gotten to work with him. My one cameo scene in Curse of Chucky, he was there because he was on film in that film, and he was actually there watching me, which was a little intimidating.
That was like day one,
Day
as
one.
I recall.
Yeah.
That shoot.
Yeah.
Alex and I did a really long 2-part interview with him on our podcast, though. If you haven't checked that out, he was super generous with us. He gave us a lot of time. Podcast is called Chucky Talks.
And Brad, you know, as he's always amazing, but you know, stay tuned, because one of the things that we really love to do, it's fun to have such amazing actors at your disposal. I like to give the actors new shit to do every year, and so Brad has a lot of fun with subtle and sometimes not so subtle variations on the Chucky persona. I think I can fairly say that without spoiling too much. You guys know, like at the end of last season, there were 72 Chuckies on that truck. You know, so there's a lot going on to come, and Brad just knocked it out of the park.
This guy right up front.
All right, speaking of Brad, how's it working with Brad's daughter Fiona coming into now he came out Curse of the Chucky? How do you feel for her working with you guys now, being part of the Chucky franchise?
And we'll repeat the question.
The question was, what's it like working with Fiona?
Bringing Fiona to the franchise, being Brad's daughter, how do you feel coming to the franchise?
I think she was really excited. I mean, and she got that role in the way that any actor gets a role. She auditioned. You know, it wasn't Brad. I mean, I was aware that she was acting at that point. I didn't really know her. I had met her a few times over the years. She doesn't remember any of the times she met me. When she was a kid, why would she? But I was aware that she'd been acting, and I had seen her on True Blood. And she originally read for the, you probably know this, probably everyone in this room already knows the story. Tell me if I should stop babbling about this. So Fiona read for the role of the sister, you know, that Danielle Basutti ended up playing. And Fiona was great in her audition, but I just saw something in her that made me think, oh, I actually think she'd be great as Nika. It's hard to describe. I think for me, it's like interesting that there are certain actors that you believe supernatural things can happen to them. It's a really ineffable quality, I think. And I think there are a lot of great actors who, in my opinion, don't necessarily have that quality for whatever reason. And I think Fiona has it in spades. I would say someone like Michelle Pfeiffer has that as well for some reason. You know, there's just something about them that you just believe magic is around them. Also in Fiona's case, and this is something that I'm always looking for, and I think most people who work in the genre are looking for in actors, people who can enact trauma well, emotional trauma. Because it's a big thing, and it's not necessarily easy for actors to do and access. You know, actors have different ways of working, but anyway, Fiona is awesome, and you know, as you know, she kills it as Chucky when she's playing Chucky. She's great as Nika. She has a lot going on this season. You got a taste of it the other night, and I hope you like it.
Guy behind, right there, yep.
A question for Mancini. With Chucky having completion anxiety in every movie and film, when he was setting out his dolls in the trucks, was there a chance like he was sending a doll to Jade and Jesse before Chucky?
You never know. Oh, you may have seen that picture of me and Nick Steele in Toronto a few months ago.
And also, is there a chance of Andy's mom making like more of an appearance or reference?
I think we'd all love that. I think Alex knows Catherine the best of all of us.
I know her well too.
I do. Do tell. I think the last time I saw Catherine was when we were in Texas for Frightmare, like 3 or 4 years ago, whatever that was. She has an open invitation to be on the show. So.
Yeah.
I saw her recently at a funeral. Kevin Yeager is Jeff Yeager. You know, Jeff is a good friend of mine, so I see them at like holiday events and stuff.
Does she want to be on the show?
I saw her at a funeral and she said she retired from acting.
Oh.
That's the last I heard as well.
Well, so is Brad. Officially.
No, but she's like
So did I at 12.
But the Chucky franchise is like the Hotel California. You know, you just can't leave.
Yeah. I think she's doing like fundraising for homeless shelters or something. She's like really involved in some social sort of work.
Maybe she could pull out Brad and be a voice of a doll if she's retired.
How about a question from the back? We haven't got you guys. Yeah, right there on the aisle. We got to be a little louder.
This question for Don. What's your perspective on how you work with Glenn and Glenda from Steve Chucky and how it's changed the TV series?
I'm so sorry. I heard Glenn and Glenda in perspective, but
the transition from the movie to the TV show. If you could comment on.
Oh, well, I don't want to say too much yet because I want people to experience it in real time on the show. But as I said earlier, I mean, it was just important to all of us that we honor the trans experience. And these characters are, been very important to me from the beginning. And so it's been really nice that since Seed of Chucky, when it opened in 2004, it didn't do well, but it has gradually come into its own. And I think all of us are so grateful and love hearing from trans fans and all kinds of queer fans how much those characters meant to them. So And Lachlan was a real partner in bringing all of that to life, as you'll see. I mean, we can have a more substantial conversation about it in 7 weeks or whatever, you know, when you see everything. But I think you're really gonna love it. I think. I mean, I'm intrigued by how people will respond to it. But again, it's not. Well, I was gonna say it's surprisingly emotional, but like. I was watching Seed the other night, and at the end of Seed, when after Glenn has killed Chucky and he's crying, and Jennifer/Tiffany, we don't know that it's Tiffany at that point, is comforting the doll, and it's there were times in Seed of Chucky that there are points in that movie that I found kind of emotional, and I don't know if maybe it was just because it was part of it was personal, but. Anyway, I think we continue in that vein in the TV show.
Okay, we have a mic in the audience, so we'll take another question from the back, maybe from my left side of the room. Is anyone we might have neglected on the side of the room?
Here, testing, here we go. I'm neglected.
We'll get to you. Let's.
Hi, my question is mainly for Dawn. It's, I can't think of many franchises that go as long as Chucky, let alone with the same kind of crew, the same vision, the same creators.
The James Bond franchise.
Right.
Which is my favorite franchise.
And my kind of question is, how do you, like as a creator, how do you keep in love with the franchise this long, and let alone keeping with the same kind of people? Like, how do you keep that magic alive to keep it going for this long?
Well, I love it. I love the characters. I love working on the movies and the TV show. As I think it was Tony and Alex were saying, I mean, we like each other. We like being together, and that's kind of crucial because you spend so much time together. And, which isn't to say, of course, inevitably there are going to be times that we get on one another's nerves, but I think we need each other. That's just the truth. We all need each other in the way that all family members do. So it's really, for me, I'm primarily motivated by them and the people involved in the show. And it's, Brad and Jennifer and Fiona and them, and now the new kids. I just get very attached to people, I guess. It probably has something. It probably says more about me and something going on in my emotional life or whatever, but I get very attached to people. And so I just want, I want to do this with them. I don't want to do it with other people. So it's not, I love it, and I love being able to keep changing it as we go on. And I think that's something we all have in common, is that we like to challenge ourselves and what haven't we done before? What weird new thing can we do? That's one of the things that I think we all have in common. Definitely drives us.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to bring the mic to you, so everybody.
She had a question. Is it okay?
Yeah, go.
This one's for Dawn. Do you ever regret killing Britney Spears? And would you ever think about bringing Martha Stewart as a co-star? Maybe different?
Yes and yes. The answer to both questions. I actually, one of my few, if only, regrets is that scene with Britney Spears, because at the time I just thought, who wouldn't want to get killed by Chucky? I mean, that's where I was coming from, and I thought that would be a compliment. And for what it's worth, in the script, Britney Spears was not the original victim, and at one point it was going to be Ozzy Osbourne, but it really came down to who could we find who was a dead ringer for that person. And so I remember her name was Nadia, who, God, it's been 20 years. But in the intervening years, of course, we've all found out about Britney Spears' troubles and everything, and so I do regret that in that way, because I would hate to think that was in any way contributing to what she had been going through. I mean, I kind of suspect she would go, Chucky who, what? Like that's just like not even on her radar. But so I mean, just because I think like probably most of us, like I want Britney Spears to be well and perform and you know and do her thing. Maybe she'll come on our show. And Martha Stewart, emphatic yes. Like I have thought about that a lot. And it seems like she could be gettable, maybe.
Yeah. She's out of jail, so.
Well, in our universe, she was on death row. I mean, she was, you know. So.
She could be a ghost.
Okay, follow the mic. Okay, next question.
Let's ask.
Yeah.
Let's see what she.
Okay.
So,
Go
I don't
ahead.
need a microphone, that's okay, I'm plenty loud.
Yeah.
So just to come back to a few things you already said, man, I'm non-binary, my pronouns are they, them. The representation you have on the show with Glenn and Glenda means everything to me. I know my spouse Chris already told you about how I slept with Glenn in my bed. I love Glenn so much, so now that I know that they're them as well, and that it is both Glenn and Glenda being they, them, and that you have a non-binary actor playing that, like, that means so much to me as an individual, and obviously to a lot of other people here. Please keep it up.
Yes.
Please keep making it like as Cape queer as possible.
I have a question actually for Tony, if I can. Tony, you had an awesome feature, Death and Seed. How did that come about?
Yeah.
I believe I was maybe one of 3 people that could speak English. I had to interview and audition for the part. It was written as the effects guy, and I think somebody named Don Mancini went, you know, it'd be kind of fun if you were the effects guy. Let's have you be one of the people that audition. And there's a horrible audition tape somewhere that I need to destroy because it's me on your kitchen table with Chucky and Tiffany playing the game of Operation. I had to prove I could die convincingly. And apparently it worked, and then all I had to do was go, and my head pops up like a champagne bottle cork. So it got a lot easier for me, so, you know. But it was really fun. It was
one of the most memorable deaths in the franchise.
It was a very psychotic day though, because I was puppeteering the puppets, and I was puppeteering the puppet who was killing the puppeteer, and then I was the puppeteer, and I was wearing wardrobe the whole day and just rotating in the circle. And at the end of the day, I just remember being so tired and questioning who I was.
It was also toward the end of that very grueling schedule on that movie.
Yeah, we were in Romania, and everything was a challenge. Just moderating electrical power to the stage was a challenge. It was so much more difficult than people are really aware of. But I think it's one of those sort of prisoner of war kind of experiences that sort of bonds everybody at the end of it. I mean, we all came out a lot stronger, a lot more confident, but it was definitely trial by fire.
Yeah, we thought like, oh, if we can do this, we can do anything. Cut to 18 years later, make a TV show in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Go.
In Canada.
It was easier than
months.
shooting in Romania.
Okay, we'll get this guy here.
Hey Don, so every time I watch Seed, I have like this question. When Tiffany gets the axe in the head, who's speaking the final words to Glenn? Is it Tiffany or is it Jennifer Tilly?
Who do you think?
I don't know. I think it's Jennifer.
Just keep watching. No, seriously, keep watching. Okay, it's addressed. It's addressed in the season.
Okay, this lady here with the cap.
Hi, speaking of filming in Canada, what made you, like, did you have to choose between Vancouver and Toronto? And if so, why did you choose Toronto over Vancouver? And this is absolutely not a biased question.
Are you from Vancouver? Are you from the Chamber of Commerce?
We have to mention Winnipeg though, too.
Oh yeah, no, that's the first one that I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That's the bigger question because minus 42 degrees.
Yeah, it's the middle of the
why did
winter.
you do that to yourself?
Well, with that, I mean, it was, we had done Curse in Winnipeg and loved it. Great
Amazing
crew,
crew.
great people. We loved Winnipeg. But because of the winters there, I had this idea, what if we, just as a concept aesthetically, I wanted to set the show in snow. And you get that in Winnipeg. So we had a week of shooting in a blizzard all night for 5 nights straight in a blizzard. One night we got shut down. And it was a real adventure. You know, like we had to even have orientation of how to like operate in such cold, and they, you know, you can't be sure not to wander off because then you can get lightheaded. You know, there's just all
You had to
kinds
go
of
with
stuff.
a buddy. You had to travel
Yeah.
with a buddy to go anywhere out in the snow.
And it's like you're wearing your own personal tent. You know, I mean, it's you're Canadian. Yeah, so you know. But anyway, we had done. Vancouver wasn't on the table. I mean, a lot of this is like the studio comes to us with, you know, certain parameters, and Toronto was on that list. I love Toronto. I've never shot in Vancouver. I would love to, but I'm very familiar with Toronto because we did Bride of Chucky there in '98, and then when I worked on Hannibal, that was shot there, so I was there for that a bit. So when Toronto came up as a possibility, it just felt like coming home in a way because of Bride. And the crew we have there is amazing. And anyway, that's all.
I'm not dissing Toronto in any way. I was just curious.
Oh, I didn't think you were. No.
Okay, I just wanted to
Like I don't, because it's like Toronto and Vancouver. It's not like L.A., New York, or L.A., San Francisco, right?
Like they're very interchangeable for TV series sometimes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Vancouver, I think, like has its own vibe because it has the mountains and everything. Whereas Toronto, I think doubles as New York, doubles as Chicago. Anyway, I'd be happy to shoot in Vancouver if someone made that happen. But it's not like that's not all up to me.
I'm afraid we're going to have to wind down, but before we go, if Christine and Alex can tell us where they could be found in the vendors room.
Yeah, if you have questions that you didn't ask here or you want to see us, we're in the Sunset Room for the rest of today and tomorrow.
And Tony, you want to mention?
Tell us about the big premiere tonight, Tony.
There is a documentary feature film directed by Kira Gardner, my daughter. She did a short film for film school. It was a 9-minute documentary on growing up within the Chucky family and hearing everyone's name and growing up a part of this group and not knowing anyone and getting to know them on that 7-minute short. Universal uses it as a bonus feature now. It got a lot of really great response. She turned it into a feature film. Screamfest Film Festival.
It's called Living with Chucky.
It's called.
Here's the button.
Here's the button. It is premiering at Screamfest Film Festival at the Man Chinese Theater tonight at 8:00 p.m. If you want to buy tickets, you can buy tickets online. There's going to be a Q&A afterwards. I think we have Dead Meat moderating for that.
They're awesome.
Yeah, so that should be fun. Not as fun as Tony Timpone, but.
Oh God, that would be amazing, wouldn't it, if we got to that? Oh,
I'll be there too.
Tony is in the movie, and Tony will be there as well. But it's great. It offers an overview of the franchise and the people, and then it also offers outside perspectives from like Lynn Shay and Marlon Wayans and a whole bunch of other really cool people. So check it out.
Yeah, tonight 8:00, Man's Chinese Theater. Now let's give it up for our Chucky Panel. Tony will be signing some autographs for folks outside, but they have a limited amount of time, so just like one item.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
And